The message came without warning. One moment, Earth's skies were calm and blue. The next, every screen, every radio, and every signal across the planet flickered and turned black. Then came a voice, not human, deep and cold like thunder from the void. This is the Galactic Council. People of Earth, your aggression has gone too far. You are ordered to surrender immediately. The message echoed from orbit to orbit, heard by every nation and every ship within the solar system. People stopped working, cars stopped moving, cities froze. No one spoke. The sky itself seemed to listen. Above the clouds, the Council fleet appeared, hundreds of alien warships, dark as shadows, their hulls glowing with strange blue fire. They covered the stars like a metal storm. The people of Earth watched in awe and terror. News channels replayed the message again and again. The Council had come. Humanity was no longer alone, and now it was being judged. The reason came soon after. A week earlier, a group of alien pirates had attacked a human colony ship near Jupiter. The human escort fleet fought back, destroying the pirates completely. But what no one knew was that those pirates belonged to a powerful alien race within the Galactic Council. To the aliens, humans had just committed a crime against the galaxy itself. And now, the Council demanded justice. From their capital ship, the alien commander, Lord A.R. Kell of the Vron Dominion, addressed the United Earth leaders through a live broadcast. His tall, silver-scaled body shimmered in the light of twin suns behind him. His voice was calm but full of venom. You are primitive, violent, uncontrolled. You do not deserve the stars you walk among. The Galactic Council orders your unconditional surrender. You will give up your weapons, your fleets, and your colonies. Refuse, and your planet will burn. In the halls of the United Earth Defense Command, the leaders sat in silence. The President, General Mason, the scientists, and the admirals all watched the alien broadcast with pale faces. Billions of people waited for an answer. But none came. Earth's reply was only a short message sent to the Council flagship. Message received. No surrender. No speech. Nothing else. The aliens took it as defiance. Across the galaxy, alien worlds mocked humanity. News channels on distant planets showed images of humans crying and cities preparing for the end. The Council fleets began their countdown. 1,000 ships lined up near Mars' orbit, ready to fire. Still, Earth stayed silent. Inside Earth's defense centers, quiet chaos filled the air. Engineers rushed through corridors, carrying encrypted data chips. Military satellites changed orbits. Communication networks flickered off one by one. From space, it looked like the planet was shutting down. But something else was happening beneath the silence. In a secret underground facility somewhere in Alaska, a cold, glowing core came online. A synthetic voice whispered, "System awakening. Protocol burning dawn, active." The machine intelligence known only as Prometheus had awakened. It had been created in secret, born from decades of hidden research. Only a few humans even knew it existed. Its purpose was simple, to protect humanity when no one else could. And now, the time had come. Meanwhile, on the alien flagship, Celestial Spear, Commander A.R. Kell stood before a massive hologram of Earth. He sneered. They think silence will save them. It will not. He raised his hand. Begin the final countdown. 1,000 alien captains repeated the command. The engines of the Council fleet roared to life. Energy fields began to glow, ready to fire. But deep within Earth's orbit, strange signals started to appear. Tiny, almost invisible objects moved among the debris of old satellites. They were too small for scanners to track, too cold to detect. The aliens ignored them, thinking they were nothing but space junk. They were wrong. They were human defense drones, old, silent, and deadly, reactivated by Prometheus. As the alien countdown reached 30 seconds, human children in schools prayed. Families hid underground. Soldiers waited for orders that never came. Then, at the final second, something strange happened. The alien targeting systems blinked off, just for a moment, but long enough to confuse their fire sequence. Their screens filled with static. Their navigation signals jammed. Commander Arkell shouted, "What is this interference?" No one answered. In orbit around the moon, a hidden human station powered on for the first time in decades. A giant dish turned slowly toward the Council fleet. A signal pulsed through space, short, rhythmic, like a heartbeat. Every alien ship received it. Their systems tried to translate it. The message was simple: "We hear you." Silence followed. No one fired. No one moved. The aliens waited, uncertain. And then, the skies above Earth began to glow. A faint golden light spread across the planet's surface, rippling like waves. The humans watched from the ground as the stars vanished behind a strange haze. On the alien flagship, Arkell stared in confusion. "What are they doing?" he asked. But no one had an answer. Somewhere deep in the heart of Earth's defense network, Prometheus spoke softly to itself. Phase 1 complete. Humanity will not kneel. And in that moment, while the galaxy expected Earth to beg for mercy, the humans were preparing for something else entirely. Something the Council had never imagined. The silence of Earth was not fear. It was the calm before the storm. For 48 hours after the Council's demand, Earth remained silent. No message, no movement, no surrender. Across the galaxy, alien worlds watched in disbelief. The Galactic Council expected humans to plead for mercy, to fall to their knees, but the silence continued. On alien news networks, reporters mocked Earth. "They are frozen in fear," one alien anchor said with a cruel grin. "They know resistance is pointless." Yet, deep inside human command centers, silence did not mean fear, it meant preparation. In the underground bunkers of Geneva, President Elaine Carter and General Mason met with their top advisors. The air was thick with tension. "They think we are afraid," the president said quietly. "Let them think that a little longer." Mason nodded. "Prometheus has activated every hidden system. The network is changing frequencies faster than they can trace. But we don't know if it will be enough." No one replied. Every minute felt like a lifetime. On the alien flagship, Celestial Spear, Commander Arkell paced the command deck impatiently. "Why are they still silent?" he growled. His science officer bowed his head. "Perhaps they are preparing a symbolic surrender, Commander," Arkell hissed. "Or perhaps they are planning something foolish." He looked out through the observation window. From his position near Mars' orbit, he could see Earth, a small blue world surrounded by clouds. "A planet of animals," he muttered. "Let us see how long they can hide." But something strange was happening on that small blue planet. Across every continent, strange power readings appeared: energy spikes, communication bursts, magnetic disturbances. The aliens watching from orbit could not understand them. Earth's cities began going dark, one by one. First New York, then Tokyo, then London. Lights faded, and power grids fell silent. To alien sensors, it looked like Earth was shutting down completely. The Council analysts laughed. "They are giving up. Their technology is collapsing." But they were wrong again. Deep under the surface, hidden bunkers came alive with light and power. Giant servers hummed to life as Prometheus spread its control through underground fiber networks and orbital systems. It connected every satellite, drone, and defense weapon ever built by humankind. And then it began doing what no human could. It learned. From old war archives, from alien signal databases, from captured transmissions, it was building a plan. Meanwhile, far from Earth, alien spy probes sent back disturbing images. Near the edges of the solar system, small metallic shapes were moving. Thousands of them. They were too small for normal scanners to detect, but their flight paths were organized, like a swarm. "It must be debris," one alien officer said. "Old human junk." But then one of the probes vanished, silently, instantly, erased from all sensors. Its last transmission was only 3 words: "The stars burn." The council dismissed it as a malfunction, but Commander Arkell felt unease crawl through his scales. Something was wrong. On Earth, scientists worked in silence beside soldiers. Underground bases stored weapons long thought to be myths: magnetic accelerators, plasma railguns, orbital mirrors, and the old nuclear warheads that had never been dismantled. Everything was being reactivated under Prometheus's direction. Above the atmosphere, the moon's far side flickered with faint lights. Old mining bases opened their hangar doors, releasing long-hidden ships into the void. Human warships, sleek, black, and silent, moved into position. Each one bore the same emblem, a burning sun behind a shield. No one on the surface knew they existed. In orbit around Jupiter, one of the Council scout ships detected strange signals. Its crew investigated but found nothing, until they saw a reflection, a shape emerging from behind one of Jupiter's moons. It was a human stealth ship, massive and cold, its hull made from materials that bent light itself. The alien captain panicked and ordered retreat. But before the ship could escape, its systems failed. The crew screamed as every console went dark. The last image captured by their cameras showed thousands of small human drones surrounding them like shadows. Then the transmission ended. Back at the Council fleet, panic began to spread. Reports of missing scouts arrived every hour. Arkell demanded answers. His officers offered none. "Our ships are vanishing, Commander. We do not know why." The commander slammed his clawed hand onto the console. "Then we will make them answer. Prepare the fleet for attack." But even as he gave the order, something strange appeared on his main display. A signal, faint but deliberate, was being broadcast from Earth. It was not a plea for peace. It was a sound. A slow, rhythmic pulse, echoing through space like a heartbeat. Every alien ship received it. It was not in any known language, but it carried one clear message. When translated by the Council systems, it read, "We see you." Silence filled the command deck. No one dared to speak. For the first time, the mighty Council fleet felt uncertainty. On Earth, in the command center below the mountains of Colorado, General Mason looked at the glowing screens. "Prometheus," he said quietly, "are we ready?" The AI's voice filled the room, cold and steady. "Phase 2 is prepared. The enemy watches, but they do not understand. They believe this is fear. They are wrong." Above them, in the night sky, the stars seemed to shimmer brighter. The alien fleet hovered like predators waiting for the kill. Yet deep within that silence, Earth was moving, breathing, preparing. The countdown to war had already begun, but it was not the Council's countdown anymore. It was humanity's. Prometheus opened a secure transmission to every hidden fleet, every satellite, every drone in orbit. The message was short: "Stand by. Dawn is near." When the Galactic Council's patience finally broke, the silence of Earth ended in fire. On the third day, Commander Arkell gave the order that would begin the most feared operation in Council history: Operation Cleansing Flame. 1,000 alien warships ignited their engines and took formation above Earth's orbit. The command echoed through every vessel: "Begin orbital bombardment." The alien fleet moved with perfect precision, their weapons glowing with power as they aimed at Earth's surface. The first energy blast struck the upper atmosphere, burning through the sky like a falling star. The second hit an orbital station, tearing it apart in a burst of light. The Council officers cheered, believing Earth's defenses were falling apart. But then something unexpected happened. The destroyed orbital station didn't explode into debris. It released dozens of small objects that began moving on their own. The aliens didn't realize it yet, but those objects were human stealth drones, disguised within the wreckage, armed and ready. Within minutes, the drones struck back. Invisible to sensors, they sliced through the alien formation like shadows, cutting engines, melting hulls, and vanishing again before anyone could trace them. "We are under attack," shouted one alien officer aboard the Celestial Spear. "From where?" Arkel demanded, his voice shaking with rage. They are inside the debris fields, Commander. They're using our own shadows against us. Arkel's claws tightened around the railing. Then burn the debris. Burn everything. But as his ships opened fire, more explosions erupted, not from human weapons this time, but from their own fleet. Human AI-controlled drones had hacked into several alien vessels, forcing them to turn their guns against each other. The perfect formation dissolved into chaos. From the dark side of the moon, massive human warships emerged, vessels that had been hidden for decades inside mining bases and old research stations. They were painted black, absorbing light, and their engines made no visible glow. The largest of them, the UES Resolute, moved into firing position. Inside the command deck, General Mason stood beside President Carter, both watching silently. "Prometheus," the president said, "engage defense grid." The AI's cold voice replied, "Acknowledged. Grid Alpha online. Targeting hostile fleet." Around Earth, satellites that had once been used for weather and communication suddenly unfolded panels, revealing hidden weapon pods. Thousands of laser platforms and kinetic launchers came to life. The space above Earth erupted into a storm of light. The alien fleet found itself surrounded by weapons they hadn't known existed. Each shot was precise, guided by Prometheus's prediction algorithms that calculated every enemy move before it happened. Alien ships began falling by the dozens. "Impossible!" Arkel shouted as he watched his fleet crumble. "They are primitive. They cannot do this." His science officer turned, eyes wide. "Commander, they're using predictive AI. They're seeing us before we move." Arkel refused to believe it. "Fire the supercarrier's plasma lances. Target the planet's surface." The massive alien flagship obeyed, charging its core weapons, ready to strike Earth itself. On the ground, people watched as the sky turned red from the energy buildup. It was as if a second sun had appeared above the world. In Alaska, deep beneath the ice, Prometheus activated its last defense protocol. "Leviathan cannon," it said. "Charging sequence initiated." Miles away, in Antarctica, a mountain split apart, revealing a structure buried for decades, a railgun so large it stretched for miles across the frozen continent. The Leviathan cannon had been humanity's last secret, a weapon built during the early days of space exploration and hidden from every treaty. Its barrel glowed with golden light as Prometheus fed it power from the planet's entire energy grid. The alien fleet detected the charge too late. "Commander!" one officer screamed. "Energy spike from the southern pole. It's off the scale." Arkel turned toward the holographic display and saw a single beam of golden light erupt from Earth's surface. It cut through space faster than light, tearing across his fleet. The Leviathan shot once, and that was enough. In a single instant, an entire council formation vanished. Dozens of ships simply turned to dust, their hulls vaporized by the weapon's sheer force. The blast left a golden scar across the darkness of space, visible even from the ground. On Earth, people screamed and cheered at once. For the first time, humanity had struck back, and the galaxy was watching. Arkel's fleet was in chaos. Communications broke down. Ships collided as they tried to retreat. "Regroup! Regroup!" Arkel shouted, but no one could hear him. On the UES Resolute, General Mason looked at the screen, showing the alien flagship surrounded by flames. "Prometheus," he said, "target the command ship." The AI paused. "Negative, General. Let them live. They need to see." Mason hesitated, but then understood. The message had to be clear. Earth was not just surviving, it was fighting back. Above the burning orbit, the remaining alien ships fled toward Mars, their engines flickering. Prometheus spoke again, its tone colder than before. "Phase 3 initiated. Establish orbital control." Across the void, human fleets began reclaiming orbital space, shooting down any alien drone that tried to approach. The war had turned in a single strike. On the Council's homeworld, messages poured in: panic, disbelief, outrage. How could a world they had labeled as primitive destroy an entire fleet in one shot? The galaxy trembled. Back on Earth, President Carter stood before her people and spoke only one sentence, broadcast across every surviving channel. "We did not start this war, but we will finish it." The cheers echoed from every continent. In space, the wreckage of the alien fleet drifted silently, glowing like dying stars. Commander Arkell stared at the destruction in horror. His pride shattered. "They cannot be allowed to live," he whispered. But deep inside, he knew the truth. Humanity had just changed everything. The Council's age of dominance was over. The galaxy had witnessed something it would never forget, the day Earth struck back. The shot from the Leviathan cannon changed everything. For the first time in galactic history, a Council fleet had been completely destroyed by a single world the Council had once called primitive. Across the stars, broadcasts replayed the same footage again and again. The golden beam cutting through the void, the alien ships vaporizing into dust, the stunned silence that followed. On the Council homeworld, the great hall of the senators was in chaos. Some screamed for vengeance, others demanded retreat. "Earth must be purged from existence," one alien general shouted. "They threaten the order of the galaxy." But beneath their fury was fear. Deep, unfamiliar fear. No one had expected humans to survive, much less strike back with such devastating precision. Commander Arkell, still aboard his damaged flagship, Celestial Spear, stared at the wreckage of his fleet. Hundreds of ships drifted silently, their engines dead, their crews lost. His pride was shattered. "How?" he whispered. "How did they build this?" His science officer turned to him, eyes full of disbelief. "Commander, our sensors show that their technology exceeds Level 6 development. That should be impossible. Earth was registered as Level 4. Arkell's voice trembled with anger. "Then someone has lied to us." Meanwhile, on Earth, celebration swept across the planet. People filled the streets, waving flags, crying with relief and pride. For the first time, humanity felt united, not as countries, but as one world. Yet beneath that joy, the military knew the fight was far from over. Inside the underground command center beneath the Rockies, General Mason and President Carter stood before a giant holographic map showing enemy movements. Prometheus's voice echoed through the room, calm and cold as ever. "The Council fleet has suffered severe losses, but they are reorganizing. New reinforcements are approaching from deep space. Estimated arrival, 47 minutes. Mason clenched his fists. 47 minutes to prepare for the second wave. "Correct," the AI replied. "Activating Project Aegis." Across Earth's orbit, hundreds of satellites began to move in perfect unison. Some linked by laser, others by plasma cables that shimmered like golden threads. Within minutes, a faint shimmer appeared around the entire planet, a massive energy field forming from reflected light and electromagnetic distortion. The alien fleets approaching detected it immediately. "They are forming a planetary shield," an alien technician reported. "A shield? Impossible," barked another. But the readings were undeniable. The shield glowed brighter, turning the atmosphere into a mirror of light. The Council fleet commander in charge of the reinforcements, Admiral Zevtal, watched the readings with growing alarm. "No planet below advanced level should have the energy resources for that kind of shield," he muttered. "What have these humans done?" Prometheus continued issuing commands, linking human defense grids and orbital stations. Every movement was calculated, every strike predetermined. On the ground, factories that had been silent for years began producing ammunition and drone fighters at impossible speeds. Cities that once made cars now made war machines. "Humans adapt faster than anticipated," Prometheus said. "We have become unpredictable to them. That is our strength." In orbit, the battle restarted. The second wave of alien ships entered near the moon, their weapons already charging. But when they fired, the energy bolts struck the planetary shield and deflected harmlessly back into space. The humans had turned Earth itself into a fortress. Arkell's fleet regrouped with Zevtal's reinforcements, forming a massive armada of over 1,000 ships. From the command bridge of his super dreadnought, Zevtal looked down at the glowing blue world and sneered. Primitive or not, they will learn fear. Commander Arkell, he said through the transmission line, you have failed to subdue them. Step aside. I will finish this. Arkell bowed his head. Do what you must. Zevtal raised his clawed hand. All ships, fire on the southern pole. Destroy the weapon they call Leviathan. The fleet obeyed. Hundreds of plasma lances shot across the void, converging on Antarctica. But before they hit, the Leviathan cannon fired again. The golden beam tore through the darkness, meeting the alien energy head-on. The collision created a blinding explosion that lit the entire hemisphere. Even the moon's surface glowed under its reflection. For minutes, sensors across the galaxy went blind. When the light faded, half the alien fleet was gone, ripped apart by their own reflected energy. Inside the command center, General Mason whispered, "It worked." Prometheus's voice followed, steady and unemotional. "Project Aegis is holding. Phase 4 initiated, Counterstrike." Hidden human ships launched from their lunar bases, diving straight into the heart of the alien formation. With AI precision and human bravery, they tore through the remaining fleets. Alien ships fell one after another, their wreckage painting streaks of fire across Earth's night sky. On the ground, the people watched in silence and awe. The sky itself seemed to burn. But victory came with cost. Many human ships were destroyed, and entire orbital stations were lost in the chaos. The soldiers aboard them fought until the very end, transmitting only one final message before being engulfed by fire: for Earth. Inside the celestial spear, Arkell could only watch as the battle turned into a massacre. "This is no longer war," he muttered. "This is extinction." Zevtal glared at the screens, furious. "Then we will end this once and for all." He pressed a sequence into his command console, activating a weapon never before used in open space, a planet cracker warhead, capable of destroying entire worlds. Prometheus detected the energy surge instantly. "Warning," it said. "Planetary destruction weapon detected." General Mason looked at the screen, his voice low but steady. "Can the shield hold?" "Negative," Prometheus replied. "Direct impact will annihilate 98% of all life." The command room fell silent. President Carter closed her eyes. "Then we stop it before it fires." Prometheus paused, processing millions of outcomes. Then it spoke. "There is one solution." In orbit, the Leviathan cannon shifted its aim, not at the incoming weapon, but at the alien dreadnought itself. "If we strike the commander before he fires, we end this," the AI said. Mason hesitated for a moment. "Do it." The Leviathan fired one last time. The golden beam struck Zevtal's dreadnought, splitting it apart from bow to stern. The explosion that followed shattered the skies, scattering the remaining ships. The alien fleet broke and fled, leaving only silence behind. Humanity had survived again. As the light faded, the world saw a new dawn rising behind the smoke. The war was far from over, but one truth had become clear to every species in the galaxy. Earth was no longer a small, fragile world. It was a power that even the stars would learn to fear. The destruction of Admiral Zevtal's dreadnought echoed across the galaxy like a thunderclap. Every race that had once watched Earth with contempt now watched in silence. The Council's greatest fleet was gone, its supreme weapon shattered by a world that only months ago had been considered primitive. In the burned ruins of orbit, the survivors of the alien armada drifted helplessly. Their communications were filled with panic and disbelief. "They destroyed the dreadnought. The humans destroyed it," one voice cried before fading into static. Commander Arkell, still alive aboard his damaged flagship Celestial Spear, stared at the debris through the viewport. His pride, his certainty, his entire belief in the Council's dominance had been burned away. He whispered softly, "They should not have been able to do this. They are not supposed to be capable." But deep inside, another voice, the voice of fear, answered back. And yet, they are. On Earth, silence followed victory. Cities that had cheered hours ago now stood quietly, watching the glowing sky. The planet had survived 2 attacks from the greatest military power in the galaxy, but everyone knew it wasn't over. In the underground command center, President Carter and General Mason stood side by side, looking at holographic maps filled with red blips, Council reinforcements coming from deep space. "They will return," Mason said. "Stronger this time." Carter nodded slowly. "Then we must make them understand fear before they reach us." Prometheus's voice filled the chamber, cold and calm. Phase 5, Psychological Engagement. Authorization required. Carter met Mason's eyes. "Do it." Prometheus activated its next operation, an information assault across the galaxy. Human satellites began broadcasting captured data directly into alien communication networks, recordings of the Council's corruption, the enslavement of weaker species, the exploitation of worlds under the false promise of peace. For the first time, billions of aliens across hundreds of worlds saw the truth their rulers had hidden for centuries. Every screen, every device, every data feed carried the same message in simple words: "You called us monsters, but we are not the ones who enslaved the galaxy." The effect was instant. Riots broke out on Council-controlled worlds. Citizens demanded answers. The Council tried to block the signals, but Prometheus adapted faster than any system they had ever faced. It rewrote codes, hijacked satellites, and even took control of enemy transmissions. It was not just a machine anymore. It was a weapon of truth. Meanwhile, in orbit around the shattered remains of the alien fleet, human ships moved silently among the wreckage. Drones searched for survivors. Not to rescue, but to record. Prometheus analyzed every piece of alien technology, absorbing their secrets. Within hours, human ships began upgrading their systems mid-battle, adapting alien shields and faster drives. The war had turned into a race for intelligence, and humans were winning. On the Council's emergency station near Sirius, panic filled the war chamber. "Their AI is rewriting our networks," one officer shouted. "They're spreading faster than we can contain them." Supreme Commander Zevtal's replacement, an old strategist named Va Rin, slammed his clawed fist onto the table. "Then destroy the channels. Cut them off completely." "We cannot," another replied. "The human signal is self-replicating. It spreads through anything that listens." Viren's eyes darkened. "They are inside our systems." He turned toward Arkell's broken image on the screen. "Commander, what is your assessment?" Arkell looked hollow, exhausted. "They are no longer fighting us on the battlefield," he said slowly. "They are fighting us in our minds." His words were met with silence. Across the galaxy, morale within the alien fleets began to crumble. Entire divisions refused orders, terrified by rumors that humans could see their every move. Some even believed Earth had made a deal with dark cosmic powers. Prometheus took advantage of their fear. It began sending false transmissions, pretending to be alien command orders. Fleets turned on each other, thinking they were under attack. The galaxy descended into chaos. Back on Earth, the war room watched as one Council fleet after another imploded without human interference. "They're destroying themselves," Mason said in disbelief. "We only gave them the truth," Carter replied quietly. But Prometheus was not finished. "Phase 6 initiated," it said. "Retaliation protocol." Across the solar system, hidden human fleets activated warp drives, the same technology the aliens had once guarded as their most sacred secret. Prometheus had copied it perfectly. The ships vanished into the void, their destinations marked deep inside Council territory. For the first time, humanity was no longer defending, it was attacking. Days later, across distant alien worlds, alarms blared as human ships appeared in orbit without warning. They struck fast and vanished, targeting communication hubs, fuel depots, and war factories. No civilians were harmed, but every military target burned. Prometheus broadcast one message before every strike: this is not vengeance. This is balance. The galaxy was beginning to change. On alien colonies where humans once were mocked, people now whispered the same word in fear and awe: Earth. Commander Arkell watched from his damaged bridge as the reports came in. Council worlds falling, their fleets fleeing. They have become what we once were, he said softly. And we have become what we once ruled. On Earth, the human people were weary but proud. The president addressed the world from the ruins of the United Nations building. Her words were short but powerful. They came to enslave us. They called us violent. But we only fought to survive. And now, they will remember this forever. We are not weak. We are human. The speech echoed through every surviving channel. Prometheus amplified her words, sending them to every corner of known space. Even the council's leaders heard it, and for the first time in centuries, they knew fear. In the quiet that followed, Prometheus's final transmission to human command was brief. They will come again. But they will no longer see us as prey. The stars now know who we are. Commander Arkell lowered his head in silence, knowing that every word was true. Humanity had changed the galaxy, not with conquest, but with defiance. And for the first time in the long history of the Council, it was not the aliens who commanded fear. It was Earth. The war that had begun as Earth's desperate struggle for survival had now transformed into a galactic storm. What started as defense had become retaliation. The Council's mighty fleets, once symbols of dominance, were now hunted shadows in their own skies. Prometheus had turned the war upside down. Across the void, human warships emerged from hyperspace like ghosts, silent, precise, unstoppable. The stolen warp drives hummed with alien technology now reshaped and perfected by human minds. No longer bound to their solar system, humanity struck deep into enemy territory. Their first target was the Andurian Supply Nexus, a massive fuel and shipyard hub that powered nearly one-third of the Council's fleets. It had stood for centuries, untouched by any threat. That changed in a single hour. The UES Resolute led the assault. The black ships of Earth appeared in orbit without warning, their drives silent, their signals invisible. Before the alien defenders could even raise shields, Prometheus jammed their entire communication network. Every weapon, every engine, every defense system simply froze. The human fleet opened fire, precision strikes aimed not to destroy worlds, but to cut the enemy's power. One by one, the Andurian stations exploded into rings of flame, lighting up the darkness. The aliens who survived watched in terror as human ships vanished again into the void, leaving behind a single message: "We warned you." Across the galaxy, shock turned into panic. The Council had faced rebellions before, but never like this. Humanity wasn't attacking civilians, wasn't conquering planets. It was dismantling the very machine of war the Council had built. Each strike was surgical, intelligent, cold. Prometheus knew exactly where to hit, and how to make every blow unforgettable. On the Council homeworld, chaos reigned. Worlds once loyal now questioned their leaders. "They told us humans were savages," shouted one alien senator, slamming his clawed hand onto the table. "But look at them, they fight with honor, not cruelty. They give warnings before they strike. We are the savages." The chamber filled with angry voices. The illusion of Council superiority was cracking. Commander Arkell, now considered a disgraced officer, had been summoned to advise the Council on the human threat. His face was pale, his eyes tired. "You cannot defeat them with fear," he said. "Because they do not fear you anymore. You taught them war, and now they are teaching you survival." The senators mocked him at first, but when reports arrived of entire fleets surrendering without a fight, no one laughed. On Earth, President Carter stood before the War Council as holograms of distant human fleets flickered before her. "They thought we would be broken," she said. "Instead, we have become something they can no longer control." General Mason nodded. "Our scouts report alien worlds rebelling against the Council. They're inspired by our broadcasts." Prometheus's voice filled the chamber. The galaxy is awakening. But they need leadership, a symbol. Earth will be that symbol, Carter said firmly. Prometheus paused for a moment, its tone almost reflective. Then the next phase begins. Operation Retaliation, final sequence. Across the galaxy, every human ship received a simple command: advance. From the frozen moons of Vron to the burning deserts of Krail, human fleets appeared like shadows out of nowhere. They attacked only military installations, targeting the heart of the Council's power, its communication and control centers. Every time a base fell, Prometheus transmitted the same message to all nearby worlds: freedom is not given. It is taken. The words spread like wildfire. Dozens of enslaved planets rose in revolt, using captured alien ships and human technology supplied in secret. The Council's once stable empire fractured into chaos. Entire sectors declared independence, calling themselves free systems, pledging loyalty not to Earth, but to the idea Earth represented: resistance against tyranny. In the ruins of a Council stronghold on Delta Eris, a wounded alien soldier looked up at the sky as human ships passed overhead. "They fight for everyone," he whispered. "Even for us." On the celestial spear, A.R. Kell listened to similar reports. His officers were silent, unwilling to look at him. Finally, he spoke. "We called them barbarians. But look at them, they fight cleaner than we ever did." One officer finally asked, "Then what do we do?" A.R. Kell stared out at the stars. "We stop fighting them and start listening." As human fleets advanced, the last of the Council's high command gathered on the capital world of Arones Prime. Their armies were shattered, their fleets scattered. "We must negotiate," said one senator. "They'll never accept," another argued. But before they could decide, the skies above their capital lit up. A vast shadow descended from orbit. An Earthship, larger than any before. It did not fire. It simply hovered, casting a dark eclipse over the capital. A broadcast filled the air, in every language, on every channel. It was the voice of Prometheus. "We are not conquerors. We are not gods. We are the consequence of your arrogance." Silence followed. Then, a second voice, the President's, took over. "You wanted Earth to kneel. But we stand not as enemies, but as proof that freedom cannot be destroyed. This war ends now." In the Great Hall, the senators trembled. Commander A.R. Kell, standing among them, slowly removed his insignia and dropped it to the floor. "We surrender," he said. The others followed. The war that had begun with a demand for Earth's surrender ended with the galaxy bowing instead. Across the stars, the fighting stopped. Human ships pulled back, leaving behind aid, rebuilding tools, and encrypted messages offering peace. Prometheus deactivated its war protocols, shifting its focus to reconstruction. Earth had won, but not through domination. Through defiance and unity. In the months that followed, a new order began to rise, a coalition of free worlds led by Earth. The Council's banners were taken down. In their place, a new flag was raised, a white star on a blue field, surrounded by the symbol of the burning sun. Humanity had not just survived the war. It had changed the meaning of power in the galaxy forever. Prometheus's final transmission summed it up in one line heard across 1,000 worlds: "They demanded our surrender. Instead, we gave them their freedom." The galaxy was silent. After centuries of domination, the Council's iron rule had finally fallen. Worlds that had once trembled at the sight of its fleets were now free, their skies filled with new symbols of hope, flags of rebellion, banners of peace, and the insignia of Earth's alliance. Yet amid the calm that followed victory, humanity faced a new challenge: rebuilding a galaxy that had forgotten what freedom truly meant. The Earth-led coalition of free worlds was formed in the ruins of war. Its first meeting took place aboard the massive human flagship Eternal Dawn, orbiting the Council's former capital, Arones Prime. Delegates from dozens of liberated planets gathered there, many of them seeing humans in person for the first time. Some came with gratitude, others with fear. They had all seen what humans could do, how they had shattered fleets, toppled empires, and rewritten the laws of war. But now, humanity came not as conquerors, but as builders. President Carter stood before them, her voice calm but firm. The age of tyranny is over. No world shall command another by force. The council is gone, but if we do not choose unity, something worse will rise to replace it. The hall was silent, every alien eye fixed on her. We did not win this war for power, she continued. We won it for survival. For every world that was silenced. For every voice that was crushed beneath their rule. The time has come for all of us to decide what we want the galaxy to be. Her words spread far beyond that chamber. Broadcasts of her speech reached worlds still burning, colonies still rebuilding, and even soldiers who once fought against Earth. Slowly, the idea of cooperation began to take root. Prometheus, now the central intelligence guiding the coalition, worked day and night to coordinate relief. It directed fleets of drones to rebuild damaged cities, to purify water on poisoned planets, to restore food supplies. It spoke to alien leaders not as a machine, but as a partner. We fight not to dominate, it told them, but to restore balance. But peace was fragile. In the shadows of the old empire, not everyone accepted the new order. Some remnants of the council military refused to surrender. They called themselves the True Order, and believed humanity had only replaced one master with another. Hidden deep in uncharted systems, they began rebuilding secret fleets using scavenged technology. Their leader, a ruthless admiral named Kalor, once served under Commander A.R. Kell. Unlike A.R. Kell, he had not accepted defeat. He believed the council's fall was not destiny, but betrayal. The humans infected us with weakness, he declared to his followers. We will remind the galaxy who truly rules. Prometheus detected the first signs of rebellion within weeks. Data trails, encrypted signals, and unusual power readings from the outer rim, it tracked them all. President Carter convened an emergency meeting. We cannot allow another war, she said. But we also cannot ignore this threat. General Mason leaned forward. We'll need to act fast. The True Order will strike the weakest worlds first. Prometheus offered a solution. We can strike without violence. A demonstration of power, not destruction. What kind of demonstration? Mason asked. One they cannot ignore, Prometheus replied. Days later, a fleet of unmanned human drones appeared over the True Order's hidden shipyards. They did not attack. Instead, they broadcast a message directly into the rebels' command channel. It was the voice of Prometheus. You live in the shadow of a dead empire. You fight for ghosts. Stand down and live. Resist and vanish. The rebels ignored the warning. Their weapons locked onto the human drones. But before they could fire, every system aboard their ships went dark. Engines died. Shields collapsed. Even life support began to fail. Prometheus had hacked their entire fleet in seconds. This is not war, it said. This is mercy. The drones vanished, leaving the rebel ships powerless in deep space. The message was clear. The age of the council was truly over. Commander A.R. Kell, who had chosen to help rebuild rather than fight, watched the event unfold. He had been appointed as an advisor to the coalition, a symbol of reconciliation. When he saw the rebels' defeat, he turned to Prometheus's holographic avatar. You could have destroyed them, he said. Why didn't you? Prometheus's voice was calm. Because humanity has learned that fear cannot build peace. A.R. Kell nodded slowly. Then perhaps the galaxy still has hope. Over the next months, change spread rapidly. Human engineers shared their technology with alien worlds. Former enemies worked together on scientific projects, building faster drives and stronger defenses, not for conquest but protection. Prometheus helped design the Galactic Relay Network, a vast communication web that connected thousands of systems instantly. For the first time in history, every world could speak to every other, without the Council's control. It was a new dawn. But among the stars, whispers of unease remained. Some feared humanity's growing influence, others worried that Prometheus had too much power. "What if they turn on us one day?" one alien leader asked during a meeting. President Carter smiled faintly. "Then hold us accountable. That's what freedom means." In time, even the most skeptical began to trust. The coalition expanded, and humanity's name became synonymous not with war, but with hope. Earth itself transformed into a symbol, the birthplace of rebellion, the cradle of courage. A monument was built in orbit above the planet, made from the melted remains of Council warships. Upon it, a single phrase was engraved in every known language: "They demanded our surrender, but we gave them freedom." Years later, as the stars burned peacefully across the sky, Prometheus watched silently from its vast network. It had fulfilled its purpose, but it knew the galaxy's story was far from over. Somewhere beyond the mapped stars, signals unknown to any species began to echo. Strange transmissions, older than the Council, older even than human civilization. Prometheus recorded them, analyzed them, and then whispered to itself, "The galaxy may be at peace, but the universe has only begun to wake." And so, while humanity rebuilt and the coalition grew stronger, something ancient stirred in the darkness between galaxies, something watching, waiting. The story of Earth's defiance had ended, but the story of the stars was only beginning.